Welcome to WEWIN New. In this video, we take you to these shocking, catastrophic plane crashes caught on camera just seconds before impact. But behind every footage, there's a story. It's a moment frozen in time that aviation history will never forget. So let's get it on. While in a left-hand turn, the airplane lost height. The left wing touched the ground and the airplane broke up while impacting terrain at Road, northwest of the airport. A post-impact fire erupted. On July 18, 2006, a rookie pilot and his navigator landed their stricken F-111 on its belly after losing a wheel on takeoff. Pilot flying officer Peter Komar and navigator Flight Lieutenant Luke Warner made the emergency landing at the RAAF Amberley base west of Brisbane, ending a tense 3-hour mid-air emergency. Wind shear may have caused the crash of a FedEx jet that cartwheeled on the runway at Tokyo's main international airport and burst into a fireball. The cargo plane bounced on its landing at Tokyo's Narita International Airport, slammed onto the runway, and tipped onto its side before exploding into flames. The aircraft is unusually sensitive on the controls, but the downside is a tendency for pilots to over-control during a bounced or otherwise unstable landing, which, in severe cases, can lead to a total loss of control. A scenic flight to run in a new engine turned to double disaster for an Auckland pilot. The pilot of a light aircraft crashes twice and luckily escapes on the same day after first making an emergency landing on a New Zealand beach and then crashing again while trying to take off. Boeing 767, with 231 people on board, made an emergency landing Tuesday, skidding down the runway on its belly at Warsaw Airport, Poland, after its landing gear failed. The plane landed safely on its belly on the runway, which had been sprayed with special flame-retardant substances. Sparks appeared from the jet engines on its wings as they scraped the runway. After it stopped, passengers exited the plane using inflatable emergency slides to the runway where emergency crews were waiting for them. During a low-altitude flight over water, the helicopter's tail wheel and horizontal stabilizer made contact with the surface, resulting in a sudden change that could compromise stability. F-4 Phantom crashed at the PT Mugu airshow on April 20, 2002. The cause of this incident was the failure of the pilot to manage the energy state of the aircraft and then to recognize a departure from controlled flight at low altitude and apply the recovery techniques. Disturbed air flowed into the engine inlet, causing a stall of the engine compressor as well. That produced the puffs of flame that were seen in the video. This led to a compressor stall, causing the aircraft to lose control and crash into a marshy area near the runway approximately 5.5 seconds later.
Oh my God!
The incident was witnessed by approximately 25,000 spectators attending the airshow. No injuries were reported among those on the ground. This is the incredible moment a cockpit camera captures, the terrifying moment a microlight's engine cuts out in mid-air, forcing the pilot to make an emergency crash landing. Aviator John Merriman was making a solo flight in his two-seater microlight aircraft above the Somerset countryside, England. A United Airlines flight leaving Denver was forced to make an emergency landing after one of its tires blew during takeoff. Passengers who were headed to Kansas City were in the air for about 40 minutes until the plane safely returned to Denver International Airport. On May 2, 2022, a National Airlines Airbus A330-200 operated flight from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, United States, to Basseterre, St. Kitts and Nevis. During taxi, the aircraft's left wing hit a lamp post, resulting in minor damage to the aircraft. The event happened at a fairly low speed. On May 4, 2025, the aircraft flew back to Indianapolis and onward to Las Vegas. The Lockheed C-130 air tanker, operating as an aerial firefighter, was seen flying low over Morgan Hill, California, releasing large loads of fire retardant to combat wildfires. A United Airlines flight made a safe emergency landing on February 20, 2021 after experiencing engine failure shortly after takeoff. Eyewitnesses in the air watched in horror and shock as parts of a United Airlines jet engine exploded and broke apart shortly after takeoff from Denver. Large pieces of debris fell from the plane and onto a residential Colorado neighborhood, damaging property. The area is typically lively, but residents were inside due to the cold weather. There have been no injuries, but debris has fallen at least 3 locations. The plane performed a landing with only its main landing gear extended, sparks coming from the front of it. Fire crews responded to the scene and sprayed foam on the front of the aircraft as 93 passengers and 4 crew were evacuated. No fire broke out. This is the footage of B-17 Flying Fortress, United States Air Force, crash landing in 1944. The pilot makes a great landing and the plane does not catch fire. Emergency services rush to the scene. Russian fighter jets intercepted a U.S. Navy Boeing P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol and reconnaissance aircraft over the Black Sea as the American surveillance plane conducted operations in international airspace. A United Airlines flight departing Denver on September 29, 2019, returned to Denver International Airport, Colorado, following a mechanical issue with an engine. On June 20, 2024, Malaysia Airlines flight MH199, a Boeing 737, encountered a significant engine malfunction shortly after departing from Rajiv Gandhi International Airport in Hyderabad, India. en route to Kuala Lumpur. While taxiing toward takeoff on April 11, 2011, Air France A380 flight had a close shave with a Comair Bombardier at the JFK Airport, New York. Although the collision of the Air France flight and the regional jet belonging to Delta regional subsidiary Comair did not result in any injuries, the mishap did cause damage to the flights. Beachgoers at the famous Maho Beach in St. Martin experienced a powerful jet blast from an aircraft as it throttled up for takeoff just meters from the fence at Princess Juliana International Airport. One of the darkest days in UK airshow history, a Douglas A-26 Invader crashed at the Battle of Britain Air Day at Biggin Hill in 1980. Prior to the display, the pilot had been refused permission to perform a role by the organisers, but did so anyway. The accident that happened on 21 September made news headlines around the world. Incredibly, no one on the ground was hurt, despite the aircraft impacting on a grassy slope close to hundreds of spectators and near a built-up area. The pilot of a light plane that crashed into a Ferris wheel at a fair on the New South Wales mid-north coast, Australia, says he simply did not see it. The plane remains on the Ferris wheel until emergency crews can figure out how to remove it. On May 6, 2014, during the height of the Ukrainian crisis, a Sukhoi Su-24 Fencer conducted an extreme low-altitude flyover in Ukraine. This captivating onboard cockpit view from an Airbus A300 offers a rare glimpse into the intense precision and skill required during final approach as the aircraft descends through a foggy over Milan Malpensa airport in Italy.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard.
While flying aboard a British Airways A320 from Amsterdam, Netherlands' cruise approach and landing coincided with the lingering effects of Storm Nelson, which brought gusty winds and turbulent conditions.
Please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened.
Due to the weather, the pilots were forced to abort the initial landing attempt, requiring 2 approaches before successfully touching down amid the blustery remnants of the storm. An Ilyushin IL-18 Coot aborted takeoff from the 8202 feet-long airstrip at Cabinda, West Africa. The pilot has done an excellent job. There's a busy public road beyond the boundary fence, less than 50 meters from the end of the runway. pilot was performing an aerial display when the incident occurred during a celebration of the anniversary of the federal airport of Legas, Brazil, on April 2, 2010. The video shows the plane performing an initial maneuver, climbing and then subsequently losing altitude, ultimately crashing into the ground. In response to the incident, the Brazilian Air Force temporarily suspended aerobatic performances by the Smoke Squadron as a precautionary measure. Air traffic at the Cambridge City Airport, England, was affected for nearly an hour today following a fighter aircraft tyre burst. No damage, however, to the aircraft has been reported, but the runway was damaged to some extent.
Cool. I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to do that.
Following an unexpected engine failure mid-flight, the pilot of the microlight aircraft was compelled to execute a forced landing on the road to ensure the safety of them.
You're okay. You're okay.
On September 13, 2024, the plane crash came a day before a scheduled military airshow. They cancelled the international airshow planned to mark the 20th anniversary of Bulgaria's admission to NATO on September 14, 2024. Some locals said it was the longest a plane has sat and blasted Maho Beach that they could remember. It was recorded on March 10/2012 in Sint Maarten. What 300 G of TNT can do to a plane. See it. A passenger on United Flight 328 took this video of the moments after the Boeing 777 landed safely at Denver International Airport, Colorado. The plane's right engine exploded and fire trucks arrived to douse the plane, and the engine failed. Neighborhoods in Broomfield were hit by aeroplane debris falling from the sky. It started falling off the jet after the right-hand engine exploded shortly after takeoff.
Oh my God. Woo.
Debris fell in several neighborhoods at around 1 p.m. It has been found at Commons Park and the Northmore and Red Leaf neighborhoods. The crash was caused by the pilot landing the Sukhoi Su-33 at too great speed, causing the arresting gear to fail under the great stress it was put under. As you can see, the pilot successfully ejected. A stunning close-up captures the awe-inspiring landing of the Antonov An-225 Miria, the world's largest aircraft. showcasing its immense size and engineering brilliance as it gracefully touches down on the runway. Amid severe weather conditions brought on by Storm Noah in 2023, including strong crosswinds and heavy rain, this aircraft was one of 8 to perform a go-round in rapid succession while attempting to land on runway. A Mexican Air Force Sikorsky UH-60 Black Hawk received damages to its main rotor blades after they hit the water while doing maneuvers at low altitude over the sea. On April 3, 1994, during the Warbirds over Wanaka airshow in New Zealand, a de Havilland Canada DHC-1 Chipmunk aircraft crashed during a solo aerobatic display. The Transport Accident Investigation Commission conducted an inquiry and concluded that the probable causes included the pilot's misjudgment of altitude and/or a mistaken impression regarding the aircraft's height above ground prior to maneuver commencement. A terrifying plane crash captured from multiple angles by skydivers inside each of the planes wearing GoPro cameras mounted on their helmets. Skydivers jumping in droves to safety, while one plane breaks apart in a fireball 12,000 feet above the ground. All 11 passengers in both aircraft survived after the incident in Wisconsin. The lead plane caught on fire and lost its wings before crashing to the ground, while the second was able to land safely. Cirrus SF-50 Vision jet makes an emergency landing into a pond with its parachute deployed soon after takeoff from Indianapolis Regional Airport, Indiana. Tow truck catches fire while moving an Air France 777-300 at Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport. The fire services attended immediately to the incident. Minimal damage was caused to the aircraft. JetBlue Flight 292 was a scheduled flight from Bob Hope Airport in Burbank, California to John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York City. On September 21, 2005, Captain Scott Burke executed an emergency landing in the Airbus at Los Angeles International Airport after the nose gear jammed in an abnormal position. During a live aerial operation in northwestern Italy, an Augusta Westland AW-139 helicopter was involved in an incident when it collided with treetops while maneuvering at low altitude. On September 1, 2022, a Bell 412 helicopter operated by Heli Bravo crashed while combating a wildfire in Amores, Braga district, Portugal. The helicopter hit high-voltage cables, crashed, and was irreparably damaged. On July 28, 2010, a C-17 transport plane of the US Air Force crashed at Elmendorf Air Force Base in Alaska while practicing for a flight display at the Arctic Thunder airshow. On May 10, 2005, shortly after takeoff, the crew of the DC-951 reported a loss of hydraulic fluid in the right circuit. The crew continued the flight and landed at Minneapolis International Airport. During the taxi to the parking area, the crew reported a complete loss of directional and braking control. The DC-9 collided with a Northwest A319 that was being pushed. A bird explodes the windshield of the aircraft in flight. The pilot was unhurt and managed to land the plane a few minutes later. It actually was only supposed to be a high-speed taxi test of F-16. However, once the aircraft became uncontrollable, the pilot decided to push through and took off. This test led to the addition of the ventral fins. On March 25, 2016, JetBlue flight from Washington National Airport to Nassau, Bahamas, reported a landing gear malfunction prior to arrival. Pilots landed the plane in Nassau using the aircraft's rear landing gear. The nose gear was only partially extended.
Yep, no nose gear. Here we go.
The gear was not extended. It was nearly completely inside the wheel well. And since they weren't able to rectify the situation, preparations were made to land with the gear up. Foam was applied to reduce the risk of fire. The Boeing 767, flying from Newark, New Jersey, with some 230 people on board, made an emergency landing at Warsaw's airport on November 1, 2011, after trouble with landing gear. The Boeing craft landed on its belly, with a few sparks flying as it hit the runway covered with flame-retardant foam. There was no blaze, but firefighters hosed the plane with water and foam seconds after all the passengers were evacuated. The hydraulic system responsible for operating the wing flaps and the landing gear failed, and a backup system worked only for the flaps, forcing the emergency landing after the plane had circled for nearly an hour above Warsaw, Poland. On October 27, 2019, a small plane crashed on landing at Spruce Creek Airport, Volusia County, Florida. The pilot reported that during landing his approach was unstable with an excessive descent rate. On April 25, 2025, a Royal Thai Police aircraft crashed into the sea near Hua Hin Airport during a test flight in preparation for parachute training exercises. On April 21, 2016, a Mooney M20K crashed when it impacted terrain during an aborted takeoff from Woodland State Airport, Woodland, Washington. F-16 jet fighter crashed after running off the end of the runway at high speed during the 2011 EAA Fly-In airshow at Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Its nose gear collapsed immediately and dug into the dirt. A huge spray of dirt shot up, perhaps 50 feet into the air. Smoke and a flame grew from the tail end. You can see the canopy open and the pilot exited unharmed. The small plane was flying from Yelm to Boeing Field in Seattle, but had to make an emergency landing in Parkland, Washington. The plane's pilot, David Acklam, told officials his plane experienced a fuel system malfunction that caused it to stall. Trooper Thompson helped the pilot push the plane off the roadway into a parking lot. On April 15, 2012, a helicopter crashed over a neighborhood in Antigua, Guatemala. The pilot lost control of the aircraft, leading to a collision with a residential area. During a height-velocity curve test conducted with an MD-900 helicopter, thanks to proper handling and rapid recovery procedures by the test pilot, the helicopter safely regained power and control. On January 6, 2009, during the 2009 Dakar Rally in Argentina, a helicopter associated with the event crashed near La Tranquera. The 2009 Dakar Rally marked the first time the event was held in South America, following its relocation from Africa due to security concerns.
Salgan de ahí! Get out of there!
This plane was landing into the Shelter Cove, California airstrip, the engine sputtering a few times and then the engine went out entirely. One man and one woman on board, and they are all right.
Hello. Woohoo! Shit!
Lots of luck for this pilot who wrongly assessed its takeoff distance. A Stinson registered in British Columbia, Canada, narrowly escapes the grab of trees on short field takeoff. On August 1, 2004, a commercial aircraft was substantially damaged when the main rotor contacted an open hangar door during takeoff, and the helicopter subsequently impacted the ground at Spirit of St. Louis Airport, Chesterfield, Missouri.
God dang! I apologize.
On March 23, 2020, a Kit Fox aircraft experienced an accident at Pierce County Airport in Puyallup, Washington. A student pilot made an emergency flight landing on a busy street in Huntington Beach, Los Angeles on June 1, 2018. The pilot was faced with engine troubles before making the emergency landing.
This guy almost ran into me.
An all-Nippon Airways Boeing carrying 193 passengers was damaged during a hard landing at Tokyo Narita Airport, June 20, 2012. Airport weather reports show winds at 230 and 16 knots, gusting to 29 at that time. On May 5, 2019, a plane suffered a catastrophic failure during an emergency landing at Moscow's Sheremetyevo International Airport, Russia. The aircraft was reportedly struck by lightning, leading to a major electrical failure that disabled the autopilot and radio communications. On June 28, 2015, a helicopter experienced an engine failure at approximately 500 feet altitude during flight. The sudden loss of power necessitated an immediate auto-rotation. On January 31, 2025, a tragic plane crash occurred in northeast Philadelphia involving a Learjet 55 operated by Jet Rescue Air Ambulance. Approximately 40 seconds after takeoff, the aircraft climbed to an altitude of 1,650 feet before entering a steep descent at a rate of about 11,000 feet per minute. The plane crashed near Roosevelt Mall at the intersection of Cotman Avenue and Roosevelt Boulevard, resulting in a massive explosion and widespread debris.
Okay, come on. No, we cannot get...
Public spirit. Preliminary findings revealed that the cockpit voice recorder recovered from the wreckage was non-functional and had not recorded the flight, complicating efforts to determine the cause of this case. On October 29, 2015, Dynamic International Airways Flight 405, a Boeing, experienced a significant fire while taxiing for departure at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport in Florida.
Everybody get off? It looks like everybody got off. We're not going to leave on time.
Maybe our Delta One cabin is actually cloud.
The incident began when another flight crew observed a substantial fuel leak from the left engine and alerted air traffic control. All 101 occupants evacuated the aircraft using emergency slides. The fire was caused by a fuel leak due to the failure of maintenance personnel to install the required safety lock wire on a fuel line coupling. This oversight allowed the coupling to disconnect, leading to the fuel leak and subsequent fire.
Which first flew in October of 1947.
On May 2, 1993, during the El Toro airshow at Marine Corps Air Station El Toro in California, an accident occurred involving a vintage Canadair jet. The impact scattered debris along the runway, but no spectators were injured. Rectech radial engine failures have been linked to several mechanical issues over the years, occasionally resulting in mid-flight power losses or forced landings, and in some cases contributing to accidents involving vintage or home-built aircraft, where these engines are commonly installed. Two planes collided near a terminal gate at Pearson International Airport in Toronto, Canada, on January 1, 2018, forcing hundreds to evacuate the other via an emergency slide.
crazy. Crashed another plane into a WestJet plane.
On July 8, 2022, an experimental amateur-built Colt Firestar 2 aeroplane was damaged when it was involved in an accident near Cleveland, Georgia. Post-accident examination of the airframe, engine and propeller revealed no evidence of any pre-impact mechanical malfunctions or failures that would have precluded normal operation. A biplane crashed during an airshow at a metropolitan Atlanta airport. Pilot error was to blame in a crash during an airshow at DeKalb Peachtree Airport, 2016. On April 11, 2025, a helicopter crashed into the Hudson River in New York. The helicopter lost control soon after turning at the George Washington Bridge to move along the New Jersey shoreline. Nearly 40 years ago today, 3 aircraft belonging to the Italian aerobatic team Frecce Tricolori collided during the traditional airshow at Ramstein Air Base in 1988. To this day, no one has politically accepted responsibility for the tragedy. The gear got stuck up due to a broken part in the landing gear, so they flew around for over an hour troubleshooting the problem while talking to mechanics on the ground and ATC.
Pretty fast,
I recorded that.
Yeah, you did. I want a copy of that.
Whew. Nice landing. That was smoother than with gear down.
Here's some footage of the 720 jetliner crash test, the 1984 controlled impact demonstration conducted by NASA and the FAA used a remotely piloted 720 jet airliner deliberately crashed on the prepared surface of Rogers Dry Lake at Edwards Air Force Base. An airplane crashed at a short takeoff and landing competition in Alaska. During these trials, pilots see who can land the shortest distance. On October 28, 2016, an American Airlines Boeing sustained substantial damage after experiencing an unconstrained engine failure during takeoff at Chicago O'Hare International Airport, Illinois. The right engine suffered an uncontained failure, leading to a severe fire and a successful evacuation of all 170 passengers and crew. On November 12, 2022, during the Wings Over Dallas Air Show at Dallas Executive Airport, a mid-air collision occurred between 2 World War II-era aircraft. The probable cause was inadequate planning and coordination by the air show's organizers. A small plane with 4 passengers aboard that had lost a wheel upon takeoff made an emergency landing at Sarasota-Bradenton International Airport, Florida on April 28, 2017. The plane then circled the airport to dump fuel before attempting its emergency landing. Nice to see a plane that actually requires a pilot to operate it, unlike the push-button aircraft of today.
Oh my God.
On February 28, 2021, a Luscombe 8E crashed near Jupiter, Florida. Based on available information, it is likely that the pilot became distracted when the cowling opened during takeoff and did not maintain control of the airplane. Fortunately, the pilot was not injured, and the glider sustained only minor damage thanks to the flexibility of the trees. The pilot learned from that and was flying safe now. An aircraft was forced to make an emergency landing at Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion Airport, Israel, following the detection of a serious technical malfunction mid-flight. Absolutely amazing. A jaw-dropping low approach by a Boeing 747 at St. Martin's Princess Juliana International Airport stunned beachgoers. While landing the tail-wheel-equipped aeroplane during the first test flight, the airplane bounced several times. The airplane subsequently veered left off the runway and both wings sustained damage. Are you curious how firefighting planes work? Let's see an aerial firefighting aircraft Canadair performing an incredible low-flying maneuver over a lake to refill its water tanks during the California wildfires 2020. The pilot should give instructions for the passengers to walk around the front of the chopper. Or he may have told them, but with some people, instructions go right over their heads. He's lucky he's still got a head. Close call in Kedarnath, India, as idiots attempt a dangerous helicopter selfie. On September 2, 2023, a gender reveal party in Sinaloa, Mexico over the weekend turned into a tragedy when a small plane crashed in front of oblivious guests. The two aircraft flying parallel before an elaborate maneuver goes wrong, leading them to crash and get stuck together. It happened in Gera, Germany. Beechcraft 1900, aircraft performed an impressive belly landing with 17 people on board. No injuries were reported. That was a smoother landing under emergency conditions than a lot of pilots could perform normally. An aerobatic plane crashed during an exercise at Guatemala Aero Club in Iztapa. Three flyers had an incredible escape on September 4, 1984, when a light transport plane crashed in a flash of flame at the Farnborough Airshow. On February 2, 1989, the first prototype JAS 39-1 crashed on its sixth flight when attempting to land in Linköping. The pilot is still alive. Extremely gusty winds were also a contributing factor. A red biplane, the Beast, crashed at the Kansas City Airshow on August 20, 2011. The custom-built red biplane was performing aerobatic maneuvers and did a downward spiral, but failed to pull up.
Totally out of control.
May God please be with his family.
Approximately 5 minutes into the performance, the engine lost power. The airplane impacted terrain adjacent to the runway and a post-impact fire ensued.
Okay. As you can see, our burn.
Biplane crashed while performing at the airshow in Cameron, Missouri. The plane entered a spin and descended into a grove of trees before partially recovering. Great landing. The FB-11 speed brake is under the aircraft, just behind the main gear, and with the tail hook down, that would have pulled her down and shortened the landing skid. On June the 30th, 2012, a jet aircraft crashed while executing an aerial maneuver during the Klerksdorp Air Show, South Africa. The aircraft burst into flames on impact. A small plane lost control and plunged into a river as it performed stunts at an airshow in Poland. It occurred in Plock in central Poland as people gathered by the Vistula River for a picnic and the airshow.
Jesus. Jesus.
On January 14, 2017, an airshow turned to horror as a jet Royal Thai Air Force crashed near the Hat Yai airport. In 1999, The pilots of 2 World War II-era warplanes escaped alive after a collision at an airshow in the United States. The Corsair broke apart on impact with the propeller.
Oh. Hang on to that rudder, baby. There's what we call a ground. Hopefully do the long way around. And stops.
The pilot of a vintage Sopwith Camel biplane lost control on takeoff and crashed into a building after ground looping.
You getting this? Oh yeah. YouTube.
On October 12, 2013, an aircraft crashed during a display at the Secunda Airshow.
Oh shit! Whoosh! No!
Right, ladies and gentlemen. If you've got little ones with you, please just let them sit down.
The Belarusian Air Force Sukhoi Su-27 crashed during the Air Show 2009 at Radom Air Base, Poland. The Air Show 2009 dynamic display was immediately cancelled.
Na piękną sylwetkę i znakomitym osiągnięciem podczas odlatywania tego samolotu
Watch the powerful jet blast of a departing aircraft at the famous Maho Beach in St. Martin. A plane crashed during practice for the New York Air Show 2015. It happened near Stewart International Airport in New Windsor in Orange County. It appears the rear part of the plane broke off. The wing of a RANS X-9 Chaos broke off during an airshow routine in Argentina. Because it was equipped with a ballistic recovery system's full-plane parachute system, the pilot survived uninjured. On September 10, 2011, it was a demonstration flight of a Boeing Stearman, which unfortunately did not go as planned. Luckily, the pilot was fine.
Oh, he's lost the lot. You got that? He's lost it.
The Ramstein airshow disaster occurred on August 28, 1988 at USAF Ramstein Air Base near Kaiserslautern, West Germany. Three aircraft of the Italian Air Force display team collided during their display. A fighter aircraft of the Indian Air Force crashed in an agriculture field in Jodhpur's Banar area during a routine mission. On July 24, 1993, MiG-29S belonging to the Russian Flight Research Institute collided during their performance at the Royal International Air Tattoo airshow at RAF Fairford. Both pilots ejected safely and nobody was injured on the ground. During strong crosswinds, a commercial aircraft attempted to land but experienced a hard touchdown that caused the plane to bounce sharply off the runway, prompting the pilots to initiate an immediate go-around maneuver.
We will receive further information.
Jesus Christ.
Technically, what the pilot did was correct, just sadly a little too late.
The finish line is here. Don't forget to give us a like button and share your road encounters in the comments. And don't miss the video on the right side of the screen. See you soon.